Welcome back to Gale Force Winds Season 4.
The Gale Force Winds podcast is proudly sponsored by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association. The NLCA provides unparalleled opportunities for its members through industry education, construction information, government advocacy, and networking events. The NLCA is building Newfoundland and Labrador. For more information, visit nlca.ca.
Edison, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell me what your name is and what it is that you do.
My name is Edison Gardiner. I'm from the settlement of Kew North Caicos. Was grown and lived there. And after that, I joined the Royal Turks and Caicos Island Police Force. And I was living in Grand Turk, South Caicos, Providence, Cialis, Middle, and North. I'm a retired police officer at this time. I was at the rank of a sergeant, and I'm also a commercial pilot.
Edison, what was it like growing up in Kew? Tell me that.
Growing up in Kew in those days was, I would say, a little difficult because we didn't have everything that we wanted. But the good thing, our mother and father, they really put their shoulder to the wheels and make sure that we get what we need, just your needs. But at that time, there wasn't no electricity, and you had to go to the well to get water. You use your bucket, then you make what you call a dipper, and you join the rope to it, and you have to put that down in the well. So you have to go look in the well to see how deep it is, so you know how to prepare your dipper for the length of the rope to go in the well. And also there was no, we didn't have a stove, so and to the extension of the house, they had a little kitchen built there. So we will go in the field, get the wood, and bring it there and put it in the kitchen. And our mother, she does most of the cooking. The man don't do any cooking. So the mother, she will do. So our mother used to prepare our meals and everything for us, and which was good. And that happened right here in the community. And my father, there were three brothers of them. It was Rob, Thomas, and O.C. Thomas was the last one. That is my father. And so at their time, what he told me, when they finished school, at the age of 14, if you don't venture to high school in Grand Turk, that was the British system that you have to leave school and go out and venture for work. So they get into boating because Haiti is like 90 miles to the south of us, and here sometimes you cannot grow enough food to support the Turks and Caicos. So what they do, they build the wooden sloop. I don't know if you ever see the native wooden sloop. They have a mast and the boom, and then they make these canvas sail, and they attach it to the mast. But it's take a lot of work because back in those days they have to build these boats, and everything with hand saw. The person who have a saw, you got to be doing. They didn't have any drill. They use the auger. There's something you got to hold and turn to get the hole in the wood before they could put the nail. Everything was physical, and take them sometimes it take them like a year to build one boat because they have to leave to Turks and Caicos, go to the Bahamas, work, come back, buy wood, come back, start on that boat again. So it wasn't easy, and I always tell my nephew Elvin and them growing up, we didn't have it easy like how they came in electric light time. I didn't have it in my days. They came in TV. I didn't have that in my days. So, and it was good. I was telling someone this week, I said, well, when we was growing up, we had no fears of hurricane because we had no TV to see that. So it put no fear on you. So now how everybody got TV, even the little children around 8, they can say, Daddy, the hurricane is on the way. But back in them days, your father, I used to remember during the month of August, my father, they would stay home. They wouldn't venture out to the boat because usually September is the strong month for hurricane. so they would stay home. And I remember as a little boy growing up, could be a hurricane once he was on the way, and I saw him at all his ropes and, he had all his hammer and nails and stuff preparing, so in case the hurricane come, because they always say when hurricane come, you don't leave your house because you have work to do. And so those are stuff I experienced in that community. But growing up there as a childhood was very nice. You had your time to go play your marbles and spin your top and stuff like that. And the place had a lot of fruits, so we had no problem with getting fruits. You had sapodilli, sugar apples, and stuff. They was all over the place. So and gannups, which is good. But my father and mother really play a big role in my life for me to turn out the man I'm as today. And when I grew up, I tried to put it on to my nephews and them who grew up in the same house that I grew up in. And I always speak about Elvin. He was into basketball, but I tell him he born in the wrong place. If you want to get in the NBA, you got to be in the U.S. I say, go try study. So I used to limit him on the basketball court. I say, go up there and play an hour and come home and study. And when he came out of high school, he was 10 CXC. And then he could apply for scholarship and move on with his life. Because I always tell, I just using it like that, Jamaicans sing themselves out of poverty. The U.S. Black American went into the NFL and basketball. That's how they get out of poverty, right? So here in the Turks and Caicos, the best thing to do is to educate yourself. The government gives free scholarship here. They send you to high school for 5 years. You get 5 years to do what you got to do. And when you come back, you get a free scholarship. So, and that's why I try to preach to the young folks here in the communities and North Caicos at large. There's a lot of opportunity. We have to embrace it. You have to embrace it. And that is a lot of history that goes on in that community of Kew. I don't know if you heard about the cottage pond. That is lead on to the ocean. It's just a pond in the middle of the land, and it's lead on to the ocean. If you have time, maybe you could go and see it. Then we have vase grain, which you hear about vase. When the U.S. gained their independence, they tell them if you want to remain within the U.S., you have to join the Catholic Church. And they said, no, we're not going to do it. They left, and they moved into Kew. And they knew that hurricane was going to be traveling through the Caribbean, so they didn't take a beach property. They moved inland. They moved inland where the trees had to protect themselves from the hurricane. And those houses are still there at this time.
Edison, sometimes older folks from another generation, used to have great expressions to describe things. I'm sure your dad was the same way. Do you remember any of those expressions that your dad used to have?
Oh, yeah, he was a Christian, going to the Baptist church in Kew. And I remember one time me and him went on the boat, and I'm hurried to get home. And he said to me, you hurry to get to Kew. Say, but my mother died and left Kew there. I said, Kew's not going anywhere. So what's the rush? And no longer than this week, I told someone that. I remember when he used to tell me those things. And I know a lot of people who I know within that community that move on. And Kew was still there. He always used to tell me that. And, there's a lot of good history that, you can get from those old folks and stuff like that. Because I remember one time, me and him was in the sailing boat going to South Caicos. So it was blowing kind of a little windy. And he said he's going to put a little reef in the sail. So at that time, I don't know what he means by reef. So he showed me. He had these lines run through the sail. It goes from one side to the other. And you take the line and you hold them together and tie it so you bring the sail down. So you don't have that. Because they can tell when the wind, those guys were so experienced. They could tell when the wind was blowing too hard because they could see how the boat keep listing. So what they do, they take a little bit of sail off so that they don't get that lot of wind. And so at one time I told him, I say, what about the jib? And then he say, what you lose in the mainsail, you cannot make it up in the jib. Yeah, so what you lose in the mainsail, you cannot make it up. And that's something that follows into the world, that people should, some people try to do things for themselves when they get old, and they didn't do it at their young age. You already lose that. So it's the same thing we fall back to the sailing boat. What you lose in the mainsail, you cannot make it up in the jib. Right. So when you lose when you were young, you should accomplish what you want to do then. Don't wait until you reach old and say, okay, your time has passed.
Thank you for tuning in to Gale Force Winds. That's Gale Force Winds, WINS.com.